Welcome to a brand new Corn Nation Overreaction live on a Sunday night on the Corn Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X platform.
Twitter.
Yes, X. No,
Twitter
Hey.
for life.
Hey, I'm older than both of you combined, and if I can get with the times, then you guys should be able to get
So
with them.
you're 64?
I
64
feel
and a half?
like it. I feel like it most
Man,
days.
you look good for your age, Chief.
Thank you. It's the gray hair. It's both
Using some just
blessing
for
and
men's, touch of gray.
what's that?
Using some just for men's, touch of gray.
Yeah, for a minute there, I thought you said something about depends. I'm like, well, depending on the
Not yet.
That's why you never have to go to the bathroom during our
That's
show.
right. That's just I'm sitting in it. Oh, never mind. Well, we're going to talk about last night's game, and I'm going to ask the simple question: yes or no answer. I mean, it doesn't have to be yes or no. But did either of you guys see Nebraska defeating Akron last? I mean, no. I know you watched the game, but did you foresee, I suppose, a 68-0 win?
No, I did not. I think my prediction was somewhere like 52-13. I thought they would score some garbage time points, maybe even get a touchdown on the first drive that was scripted, and we're trying to figure out how to play coverage against them. But I did not see us thoroughly doing what a team of our caliber is supposed to do against a team of their caliber.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that was not what I was expecting. The point spread was 34.5. Over under, I think, was 49.5. So
Doubled up the spread.
Yep. Vegas was basically, if you taken the point spread in reference to the over under, basically a 42-7 Nebraska victory. Greg, give it handy. What was our predictions? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I do have that handy, Jake.
So,
Haas, you had 52-15.
Okay.
Jake, you had 49-14.
Yeah.
I had 55-17 because I thought garbage time, scores. Minnie had 48-6, and Fred, Minnie's Monday Night co-host, had 45-10. He actually changed it to 38-10. So
after week one performance,
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things that I was shocked by was Rule's historic tendency to let up on teams, let off the throttle. And when it went to halftime at 33-0, I was thinking, are we going to F around in the second half and end this thing like 40-10, 36-14? So seeing us keep the foot firmly on the throttle and just literally pull away from them in the second half with second and third stringers in there, that was amazing. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do against a team that's on academic probation. That has nothing to play for.
I think the academic probation is not a handicap. I think that plays in their favor. I'll be the first one to admit that I took him against Wyoming because I'm like, academic probation.
Every game's their bowl game.
We're doing something right. That's obviously a joke. I'm not,
I know I said this on X, by the way. Or I'm going to say X. You guys call it whatever the hell you want. You can follow the 5 Heart Podcast on X at the number 5 Heart Podcast. And I said this, I know it was before half because in the post it says, score again here before the half, put the boot on their throat, watch the life drain from their eyes.
Yeah.
And it was so good to see that.
Did you catch what Joe Moorhead said after the game?
I did not.
He basically, when they asked him what happened in the game, he was just like, athletes, program of their caliber against a program of our caliber. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing, but they did what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
And I would keep an eye on Moorhead going the OC route at a major program again. I think that when he was at Penn State and Oregon, in between he was at Mississippi State as a head coach, he can scheme with the best of them. I just don't think he's one of those guys cut out to be a head coach. Be a good candidate if Dana ever moved on for that NFL OC job he covets.
Yeah, I mean, that's the logical progression, is he's head coach at a mid-major, we call it, and yeah, then you take the next. He's not going to go head coach at Akron, head coach to Michigan,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's within. And I mean, maybe it's not, unless he's trying to get out of Akron. Maybe that's his goal with the program the way it is. And maybe I don't know if Akron goes over. I don't know what their schedule looks like. I don't know the likelihood of that. They didn't show much last night, and they got blanked a week before by Wyoming. So, I mean, but unless he goes, you'd have to think that they would they not have to show some let me try this, some signs of life for him to actually get a phone call somewhere? Or does he have a resume? I don't know much about the guy. Does he have a resume?
I mean, he coordinated Penn State in 16 and 17 with Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley, and then he went to Mississippi State and kind of got ran out of town being a Yankee from the Northeast down there in Starkville, Mississippi.
Fair.
And then after that, he was at Oregon under Mario Cristobal, before he left for Miami. And he's a good schemer. I think that he's had some he had a bad cultural fit at Mississippi State. But other than that, I was pretty impressed with, and I say impressed in the loosest definition of the word, with 150-some yards of total offense and 0 points. But the play designs were good that he had. He called stuff that should have on the whiteboard worked against us, but we just had better athletes. I thought they weren't the most talented, depleted team that I've seen us play. I mean, Finley's not that bad of a quarterback, and Gant, their running back, was pretty good up the middle on some of the draw plays they ran. But I think by and large, they're a low-level MAC team. If they eked out 3-4 wins, he'd probably get a call somewhere to go be an OC.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. If you look at who we played last night, and like, let's say UTEP of last season, I think that Akron last night was better than UTEP we played last year.
I'd agree with that.
I think we're just that much better. I mean, look at like that. I mean, we're going to get to some of this stuff, obviously, like later on too, but like some of the coverages that Dylan made throws, it was tight coverage. It was a quarterback making a throw and a receiver making a play on the ball. They were just outmatched. There was a really nice play Rex Guthrie made on a wide receiver screen where it was great to see that he had the feel where he wasn't quite there quick enough to like make a play on the ball. So he decided to wait and make a play on the receiver. Split. He broke down because he knew, he read the play. He knew right where the ball was going, knew he couldn't make a play on the ball. Stopped, the receiver caught it. He was already broken down, killed the play right there. 4th down, they got a punt. It was awesome. It was an awesome, aware moment from Rex Guthrie. And who I was very impressed with.
Yeah, playing within this, not only the scheme, but good reaction after the play breaks down. To not go for the ball, not try to make a cowboy play, but just keep the offensive player in front of him.
Yep.
And have the physical, the control physically of himself to not, be whistled for a pass interference. Like you said, Jake, he stopped, gathered himself, knew exactly what he was going to do. As soon as the ball hit the hands, bam,
Yep, because you could tell he knew he wasn't in a position to try to make a play on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So instead, he made the smart move in that how fast the game goes, breakdown, just kept his eye on the receiver. Receiver, as soon as the receiver touched the ball, bam, down, kill it. It's 4th down. Great situational awareness, too. Yep. If I kill the play right here, we get the ball back.
By the way, we are going to be taking your comments throughout. I'm starring a bunch of them. We're going to try this thing. It's worked to a certain degree on Thursday nights. Like, we have something that almost resembles a format tonight. So I know that may scare some of you. Just trust us. Some of us have been doing this for a long time. Jake's been doing it at least a year. So just have a little faith in your Sunday night crew that we won't lead you astray. Overall, the game, like I definitely didn't expect 68-0. As I mentioned, my score, I said 55-17. I thought that, once we put in the 2s and 3s, there may be, a gap in the defense that Akron could exploit. All levels of the Nebraska players played to a certain standard last night, and that was great to see because, I mean, I know we'll get to it when we talk about, individual performances or position group, performances, but I've the last 24 hours, full disclosure, I've been, acting or reliving with a particular grain of salt. Like, I understand that it's Akron, but there is talent all along the depth chart.
Mhm.
You know, we had Maverick Noonan taking advantage of the fact that a ball sailed over the quarterback's head and comes up with a third string turnover. You know, like that's.
Or how about guys like Gabe Moore and probably going to butcher the name, but Pichek?
Yeah.
Who on the safety. You know, Pichek, he looks like those old-time Husker DNs of the 90s, the athletic build, the get off from the line of scrimmage. You can see why I said to Jake last night when we were watching the game, you can see why OU wanted him so badly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looked every bit the part. Explosive.
What? True redshirt freshman?
True freshman out of Fargo.
Let's see. Chris on Facebook said, "I'm happy to see the shutout since Wyoming managed to do it. Of course, Wyoming probably had the starters in the entire game."
Yeah, Akron got inside the 5 3 times, right, Jake?
At least twice. I'm trying to remember. Like I already said, I took Akron week 1 and I lost on a bet, but I actually thought they were a good play. But it was at least twice they were inside the 5. It may have even been a third time. So they did move the ball a little bit on Wyoming and had a chance to score, but which kind of on our first talking point, were there any aspects of the game that were disappointing? Everyone's going to get their torches and pitchforks out. They did. Yeah. We were unable to score from the 1 yard line twice.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing before everyone comes after me. I understand we scored 68 points and we had 700 yards of offense plus another talking point for coming up, but having them stop you twice inside like the 1 yard line, I didn't really like that.
Yeah, the fumble, Emmett's fumble was brutal. You know, you don't want to fumble going in. You don't want to fumble ever. You don't want to fumble going in inside the 5, on your way to the end zone. But my point, we're talking about getting stopped the 1, the Heinrich Harburg, quarterback sneak. We need to quit being so, I don't want to say gimmicky inside the 5 with our offense, but
we telegraphed that one.
The offset wing T or the offset T formation, trying to get under center and run power, trying to get in the Maryland eye and run the quarterback sneak. Right now, I think we're probably better off just staying within our base offense inside the 5.
Yep.
Our best weapon is spreading the field with receivers, running split zone with Lindenmeyer coming back across the formation to block the end man on the line of scrimmage, maybe a little bit of zone read. I think staying within the base offense inside the 5 is probably better for us because it gives us more of our fastball approach. It's what we're good at. You saw Dane Key last week against Cincinnati score on the RPO. That's the kind of stuff we should probably be running inside the red zone. I love the idea of getting into heavier formations. I love running under center, but right now we just telegraph it too much.
Yeah.
I noticed, the play before Heinrich got stuffed at the goal line, I think we were on the 3, and the play design, I believe it was Quentin Ives. I may be wrong.
Yep.
I probably am. But they tried to go over the pile. And it's like, it's very difficult to go over the pile when you're on the 1 inch line, but you were on the 3. That's an awful lot of real estate to try to make up.
Yep.
Unless you have a world-class long jumper. It's just not something like that. Seemed like a bad play call decision at that moment. Now, after I'm trying to remember which was the fumble before the goal line stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The goal line stuff was on the possession directly following the safety. So
right.
You take away the safety, we're 2 plays away from scoring 80.
Yeah. After the fumble, I said, well, sure would be nice if we got a safety. And we didn't quite get it on the first down play, but we got there on the third down play. Defense showed up last night, and I want to address this because I think I don't want to say necessarily asterisk, but Corby says it's Akron, but for years we have come out of these games a bit uncomfortable. Last night's statement, regardless of the opponent, and one of the last things that I said on Thursday night on the 5 Heart podcast was, I just want to be able to relax. Like last night, I'm sitting in my chair, which is a few feet right there, feet up. I wasn't on the edge of my seat in, the second half of the fourth quarter. We had that game under control. We did everything that we were supposed to do. With the exception of those goal line stops, there's not. I didn't lose any hair. I didn't have any more hair turn gray last night. At the end of the day, that's about all I can ask for out of a Nebraska football game.
Yeah, that's a great point. We haven't handled it, business like that in a long time, and it was great to just be able. Haas, man, we watched the game together. It was nice just to watch the game and actually just chill, man. It's fun. Haven't had that in a long time.
Get to see some of the younger players on the depth chart get out there, and I think one of the funny things was before the game, it's Akron, but as kickoff approaches, you start to get kind of angsty and amped up for the game, no matter who your opponent is. I kept thinking about Troy in 2018 after we lost to Colorado, and looking around college football, you saw South Florida beat Florida yesterday, and Clemson had a scare with Troy, Troy of all teams. Just being able to take care of business in a way that's basically you did what you're supposed to do, kind of like Denny Green's the Bears are who we thought they were. That feels great. It's a confidence builder. And we got another confidence builder next week before we head into Michigan.
Interesting. Not interesting. It's an important stat by Tiger Shark Diver. Says 91 out of the 105 players on the Huskers roster are freshmen or sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know they mentioned it last night that Nebraska is still a young team. I didn't realize that we were quite this young, but like TSD says, big things ahead, bros.
Mm-hmm. Building.
But I think because we look at some of the key spots, right? Running back, quarterback. We've got Danke who came in as a transfer. A lot of the secondary is veteran. It doesn't feel like we have young guys. A lot of them have experience. So, I shouldn't have conflated the secondary with the other positions, but we have a lot of young guys who played a lot of college football at this point. Ja'Cory Barney has played a season plus now. Dylan, Emmett Johnson, I think, is a junior.
Yep.
So a lot of the key spots, they're not brand new to the speed of this game. And that will only help Nebraska going forward.
I agree. I think one of the biggest things for a defensive front that's rebuilding after the loss of Ty and Nash, getting game reps and figuring out angles, whether it's, where you're stepping after the ball snapped and you're, trying to fit into your gap, or pursuit angles when a play breaks into the open. That's stuff that only game reps can give you. And I think that having Cincinnati as the first game was huge to get a test from them. And I think now that I think you'll see that defense really continue to settle in. And I kind of think that heading into that Cincinnati game, I hate to say this because they had an entire fall camp before that game, I don't know if John Butler had a great bearing on what we had to work with in the front seven. I kind of feel like we need to get into a game and see where guys fit, because you saw some really young guys rotating in early against Akron.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of the position breakdowns. And I don't think it's fair. I think we owe it to the viewers to start with the quarterbacks, because we actually saw 3 quarterbacks last night. 4 if you include Heinrich, who did take a snap or 2 under center. Right away, I feel like we have to start with captain number 15, Dylan Raiola, who stepped up and managed the game quite successfully. 24 of 31, no interceptions, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns. And as we'll talk, throughout the course of this, the one thing that Matt Rule said, maybe not the one thing, but one of the key things that Matt Rule said was missing or lacking for Nebraska was explosive plays. And there were an abundance of explosive plays last night. But another game where, I think Dylan's, season completion percentage is up, 77, 78%.
Thrown for 657 yards already.
And I will say this again, we have some people who are, when you win 68-0, any complaint you have is going to be considered nitpicking. I can say that there were a few balls that were not quite on the mark where they needed to be. There were some that, I think Akron was close to, they could have had a couple of interceptions if their quality of athlete were a little bit better. I haven't looked back at I want to say it was a pass across the middle to Isaiah Hunter, and Hunter had to catch it on his back hip, where if that, and to slow down to do it, but if that ball is catching him in stride and in front, he's not going to have to slow down, and we're going to get some more yards after catch. Completely nitpicking at the end. I'm very pleased with the stats that Dylan put up because he was out of there before the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I understand where you might feel like some of it is nitpicking, but I thought early in the game there were some throws that Dylan was a little tentative on. He had some first read checkdowns that he just knew where he was going with the ball right before the snap. And that's great in some cases, but when you're still a relatively young quarterback trying to work the confidence of the deep ball, you got to be able to take a chance. And he settled into that as the game went on. But there was one point we ran a post wheel switch concept, and he had Dane Key Isaiah Hunter open on the wheel first, and then Dane Key came open late on the post. Both guys were open. He double clutched it and checked it down. It's kind of like what Bruce Arians talked about with Peyton Manning when he's the QB coach for the Colts in 98 for Peyton's rookie year. Asking Peyton why he didn't throw a certain ball. He said, it's not open. In the NFL, 6 inches is open.
Yeah.
So you got to fit it in there. And so I want to see Dylan be a little bit more decisive on those plays. That's my one nitpicking point with him from yesterday. Once he settled in and hit a deep ball, though, you could see that confidence growing. And people can say, yes, it's Akron. We're going to go up against a much better secondary here in 2 weeks against Michigan. Michigan State looks like they've got a pretty good secondary after that. But when you're looking at a game like this, you did what you're supposed to do. You got game reps. You got to build that self-efficacy out there on the field in a real game situation, not practice. You're in a stadium with, 80,000+ fans in there. And so once he settled in, he quarterbacked at a high level. It kind of felt like he needed to not shake some rust off, but just need to kind of get his game legs underneath of him.
How many attempts did he have?
31.
I have that right here. I'll pull that back up. But to that, Haas, I was just going to say, had to kind of prove to himself that he could do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn as much as you want in a practice setting, watching film, but until you're going up against a team that you don't know what they're going to do coverage-wise, and Akron was basically in quarters coverage all game long, I think it kind of took us a little bit to figure out, okay, if they're in quarters, it's going to look like zone within the first 5 to 7 yards, and it's going to kind of turn into man across the board once receivers are into their breaks. After that, we were able to just out-athlete them, and Dylan was able to place the ball wherever he wanted to once we got that good feel for what they were doing coverage-wise.
Jake, 24 completions on 31 attempts. He averaged over 15 yards per completion.
That was where I was going with that.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I didn't know that's where you're going, but I wanted to have it ready just in case.
And over 10 yards per attempt.
Yep.
Right? I want to see that from a guy from Dylan. I mean, obviously, if we leave him in, he throws for whatever.
500 yards.
Yeah, he throws for 5, whatever. But, and I'm not going to, to give a little bit of, I doubt there's any diehard Akron fans watching this.
If there are, I salute you.
I salute you. And by the way, your team didn't quit the whole time, which I respect. I mean, they played hard all the way to the end of the game.
They were overmatched.
You were just overmatched, and that's not saying that braggingly, but I will. I mean, when it comes to Dylan, who I've been pretty critical of, pretty openly critical of, maybe not, maybe unfairly to a degree. This felt like a pivotal moment, and people might kind of laugh at this. This seemed like a pivotal moment in his career where he finally has that confidence, like, okay, yeah, I can do this. He made some throws with authority, and I was glad to see it. That throw to Dane Key where he was rolling out and he threw that touchdown pass on the run with authority on a line. Great throw. Love to see it. And I'm a little bit more confident in him, and I don't care. The whole Akron narrative and their whatever. Yeah. I don't care about that.
I think the next building block is to do it against increased caliber of competition.
But doing it against Akron, I think helps set that up.
I do too. I think that's kind of that first, to get educational psychology on you guys. It's kind of that first inactive mastery experience. Okay, I'm out here. I know what I'm doing. I can place the ball wherever I want to. This is where guys are going to be. They're going to be getting open. Now that next step is playing against a Big Ten secondary in 2 weeks, one that's really good. Being able to trust that in your arm and your abilities, trust that your receivers are going to be where they need to be, and then take the chance on a 50-50 ball. That's going to be a big key in that game.
Without the success that he had last night, he doesn't, I don't think, have – I promise I'm not like judging a 20-year-old kid, but I'm trying – we saw him get better as the night went on last night. He got more comfortable. First of all, credit, a lot of credit goes to the offensive line. They gave him plenty of time. He wasn't really running for his life at all. No sacks, kept clean. But I think he needed, like I said, I don't want to rehash, but he needed to prove to himself that he could do it. And if he could do it, he would never do it against a Big Ten secondary if he didn't, baby steps to, against Akron. Or, what we hope to see next week against Houston Christian, He had to walk before he could run. Mm-hmm. And then when he did run, I noticed he still got tackled 2 yards shy of the marker.
Yeah, he tried that little pirouette John Elway helicopter there.
What I say, he's no Braxton Miller on that spin move he tried to pull.
Yeah.
We'll say this, as Husker Chuck says, he's currently number 15 in the country in passing yardage.
Of the things,
if they would have played him the whole game, he probably had 600 yards passing.
Yeah, he could have had whatever. Yeah.
One of the things I was really impressed with last night was his more willingness to tuck the ball and run, roll out. And I think it goes back to what I was saying about staying within our base offense inside the 5. If we're able to run some zone read with him, some speed options, something to hit the edge fast, that's going to open up a lot, because a lot of Big Ten teams, when they feel like they're more talented than you, they're going to play man coverage. With our talent level being what it is, probably I'd say top half of the Big Ten, if not top quarter of the Big Ten, being able to have quarterback run game in the red zone when they're playing man is going to be huge. Play 11 on 11, open things up in other areas.
So to kind of keep on that same, right, like we're talking about the quarterbacks, talk about the talent level, talk about some of the other position groups.
Yeah.
Before we do that, real quick, though, I want to talk about Latif. Like a lot of people want to talk about TJ Latif.
Can I throw this image up there?
Please do.
Now, just know this image is inaccurate, and I'll tell you why. Phil says, this is on X, Mark Gronowski has 127 yards passing through 2 games. Backup TJ Latif has 126 yards tonight. He may have, at the time that this message was sent out on X, might have had 120. He finished with 128 yards passing. So TJ Latif, or Nebraska's backup quarterback, has more passing yards through less than a half of football than Iowa's starting quarterback, who is supposed to be the great arm, the right-handed savior of Iowa City. So feather in your cap, I suppose. I had to get that because Latif looked awesome. 100.
And our the folks out there, obviously tip of the hat, that watch our show every week, that have tuned in since, especially when it was just Haas and Greg, but even since I've been here, I like to think I'm somewhat pretty respectful to our opponents. I don't, there are people's moms and dads might catch wind. I always think you want to be respectful, except when it comes to the University of Iowa.
Yep.
Fuck them. I can't stand that university and their fans. Gronowski looks horrendous. I loved watching that Iowa State game. They still almost Iowa'd that game out with weird penalties, a kick-catch interference that wasn't called early in the game. Schadenfreude. For those who aren't familiar with that German word, it means joy in the suffering of others. Of others' misfortune. I felt Schadenfreude watching them fall to Iowa State. I hope they don't win another game this year. I hope we beat them 166-0.
I'd settle for 68 zip.
Gary said a little bit back, let's talk about how TJ could come in to play right now if we needed him. He looked great. I didn't expect to see him look so polished and in control. Holgerson had alluded to that.
Yes,
I agree. I think if there's a point that Dylan goes down this year, I think that the offense could still hum at a good level even with him in.
Brasco Rascal says Latif looks like a true dual threat and could be our quarterback we've been hoping to get.
All right, Minnie made a comment that I got to sink my teeth into.
Which one? 932?
932. Go ahead and read it, Greg.
All right. I already know the answer. I'm excited. Minnie says, why were we throwing the ball with our third-string quarterback if we are respectful?
We're just running our offense. That's all we're doing. We're getting game reps.
You got to get game reps. Yeah. It's just what it is.
And plus, with how prevalent the passing game is in college football now, like those short passes basically are just extensions of runs. We're running some stuff off play action. We're asking him, even if it's a run play, we might have a glance route, a post or a bang eight cutting in front of the safety, and we're watching if that safety bites on the run of the RPO. Basically, we're asking him, hey, go out there, work through your reads just like you do in practice. You work hard all week in practice, go out there and show what you're capable of in a game.
We're being respectful because it's our third team. It's our third team.
That's exactly what Kaylee says. It's our third-string quarterback. That's as respectful as it gets. Fred says because we need to run our offense, many G's.
Yeah,
and Pitt said just working them out. And I talked about, so we did a little 5-heart instant reaction thing live last night. And, I said I used to be less enthused about running the score up until I met Haas and you shed some light. It's like, if you're not doing trick plays, faking punts and things like that, onside kicks, if you're just running your offense, then if they don't want to have the score run up on them, they should stop.
Yeah.
And that changed my approach to it. Why wouldn't you allow Jalen Gramstead to go out there and be a quarterback?
Yeah. He works all week in practice. He goes into film meetings, sits there with the quarterback's coach. Hey, if you see this happen pre-snap, cancel the run, throw it out there in the flat.
Because you never know, God forbid, in a situation where it's not, 55-0 or 56, 54. Let me do my math right. You don't know in a situation where you may actually need Jalen Gramstead to come on and try to win a game for you.
Yep. And like Minnie's most recent comment, 934, saying that we did run up the score. That's all she's saying. There's a difference between running up the score and running your offense, scoring points. There's a difference between running up the score and scoring points. Running up the score is what that douchebag Todd Graham at Arizona State would do, pulling fake punts on 4th and 20, up 40 late in the game.
Woody Hayes that one year, I'm going way back, like 60 years
69.
ago. Yeah, 1969. They were playing Michigan. They won 50-14, and when they scored to go up 48-14, he went for 2. With like less than a minute left, they were converted. They won 50-14. And in the post game, he got asked, why'd you go for 2 on that last play? And he goes, because they wouldn't let me go for 3. Yep. That's running up the score.
Yep.
And here's the thing, Akron kind of conceded, like if they didn't want our third string to go up and down the field on them, they could have kept their starters in. At this point, you're just getting depth chart reps.
And they honestly showed some, grace amongst, withering defeat. They weren't blitzing late in the game against our backups. They were running their base stuff just like we were running our base stuff.
Kaylee says, if we would have put in the backups and the scoring stopped, I'd be worried about our depth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd be worried about our depth, but I certainly wouldn't be as confident and enthusiastic about our depth as I am right now. If that makes any sense. Like, it just instead of it being disappointing, Ohio State ran. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's running up the score. And by the way, that whole vitriol, Ohio State versus Michigan, that deep-rooted hatred, I know there's a lot of old Husker fans that whatever with Iowa. No, dude, that's a real rivalry. Anybody out there with musical talent that wants to create a Nebraska versus Iowa hate metal band, I have some business experience. I could probably manage you and get you a lot of PR. But I forget where we were at before that little tangent. But the depth thing.
Yeah.
I'm just even more encouraged. That's where I'm not going to say I'd be worried if we didn't score or whatever. If we didn't, but I mean, we looked fantastic. Our backup players did. So
it's a testament to the development that takes place in the off season, in the weight room, summer conditioning, and in practice. Like, there's something, and again, it's Akron, but there's a killer instinct with this team that we haven't seen in a long time. We didn't see it last year against UTEP in the opener. We didn't see it in that god-awful snoozer of a game against Northern Iowa a week after beating Colorado. We saw a team that looked like they were ready to, tear somebody's head off, and they looked like they knew what they were doing. There wasn't any bullshit, at low effort play against a weak opponent. They came out juiced, and that you got to play everybody on your schedule the same way. It's cliche, but it's a nameless, faceless opponent. And I've said it, I think 3 or 4 times already on the show tonight, but we did what we were supposed to do against a team of that caliber as a team of our caliber.
So, Greg, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm ready to jump forward a little bit and talk about an emerging player.
Yeah,
because
do it.
First of all, to say that we got a lot of defenders reps is putting it so mildly.
41 players. 41 defenders played in the game.
41 defenders, and we did such a good job. Now, the time of possession was actually fairly even. I think Nebraska only had like a 24-second advantage. But you have 33 guys, I think, getting, I tell you about, you had a bunch of guys. But the leading tackler for Nebraska was the true freshman. I don't want to try to pronounce his last name. Cade Peacock. 4 tackles. That's how spread out it was. We were talking last week about Deshaun Singleton, 7 tackles. And it just seemed like he was flying all over. It was just tough to keep track of all the defenders that John Butler was running in. 4 tackles, 3 solo, 1 assist, had 2 tackles for loss, including the safety. And I know, Jake, you had some thoughts that you definitely wanted to get out there about the linebacker, I guess.
He's kind of like a stand-up. Funny enough, he basically played the same position I did. Kind of like a stand-up 2-point D end, where he's not a hand in the. Well, I think he can put his hand in the dirt. Haas, is Peacock a stand-up or a hand in the dirt guy?
He's a true D end. He's not a jack.
Okay, so never mind. But he plays more like he kind of is hand in the dirt. He plays more like a 2-point type defensive player. I know, again, man, we're going to beat this horse to death. I know it's Akron. The guy in a vacuum looked incredibly explosive, decisive, aggressive. I can't be complimentary enough of how Peacock played last night, and he looks like the real deal to me.
Yep.
I'm going to put you both on a spot here real quick. Give a comparison, I know it's such a small sample size, but if you had to compare him to this Nebraska player as far as, he's got, he showed this, he's got this kind of potential because he's also 19 years old. Who would he stack up against, if you had to, say he plays a lot like this, he could have this type of career.
Not just because of the same jersey number, it's a lot about the build, the explosiveness. Jared Tomich.
I was going kind of the similar position. I was actually, again, not about comparing to a college football Hall of Famer yet. It's Akron. Grant Wistrom, a guy that I think similar build. I bet their height and weights probably stack up fairly similar. Grant Wistrom obviously was a unicorn. Freak of just.
He's a little shorter than Peacock too. Peacock's 6'7".
Is he that tall?
Yeah, 6'7", 265.
Is he? Wow. Okay, I thought he was more like 6'3", 6'4". Okay, so I was a little off on that. I didn't know he was quite that tall. But I guess at least body composition wise, as far as like how he looks,
6'5", 265. My bad.
Wasn't too off, but it does not to get into the minutia too much with his height and weight, but again, he looked like an all-star against Akron. I get it, but like what's important though is that this is a guy that has not played at this level, FBS football before, at college football, the FBS level, and to look that aggressive, that explosive, and that decisive, and to get to the point of attack with those bad intentions was impressive to me. He jumped off the page.
Yep. Fred just said Garrett Nelson, and I'm going to lean in the direction that Fred's kind of being tongue-in-cheek here. Garrett Nelson was a guy that you never saw the flash as a freshman. You're talking about a guy who, when he was a senior, we were playing North Dakota in the second game of the 2022 season. He was celebrating like he just won the Super Bowl every time he beat the offensive tackle, the left tackle from UND. And so I never saw it with Garrett Nelson. I kind of feel like it was a case of wasted potential, bad coaching, because I do think he was an athletic freak. But my whole point, to summarize what I'm trying to say is Nelson never showed what Peacock did yesterday from an early point. He looked like, there's some potential here. Maybe he can get it together. But Peacock jumped off the screen.
And
if you didn't know who he was,
no.
Before, you're just watching the game as a casual fan or fan of another team. The second that ball snapped, he's got that left tackle looking like it's a turnstile.
And he wasn't playing in garbage time.
No.
This is the first quarter, folks.
Yeah,
he was legitimately – he was legitimately playing from the I don't know if it was the very first play, but, right there.
Gargamel says Peacock reminds me of a young Peter brother.
And if he has the attitude of one of those Peter brothers, that's even better. We need some guys like that on this fucking team. We need some guys like that on the team.
Minnie says McCulloch, Singleton, Shavers all were stars, and RVP batting down look, RV. I think I said RVD. I don't know. Mr. Saturday Night, RVP. Some of you will get that reference. But Akron didn't have many opportunities. They clanked one off the uprights, and then Riley Van Poppel blocked a field goal, which is, something we saw Ty Robinson do, a few times last year as well. So, the shutout was a total team effort.
That actually kind of naturally brings us into another point, unless you want to read another starred comment or a couple, Greg, real quick about because I want to talk about the significance of the shutout. But
I wanted to move on real quick, talk about the receivers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if there's time, honestly, if there's time, but running backs too, but talking about the receiving core as a unit, Ted Hilker said, are we working towards having the best receiver core in the Big Ten or no?
We're not there yet.
I think it's too early to tell.
I don't think we're there yet, but I think we have I think that we are working toward having one of the top.
Yeah, I'd say top 4 by season's end.
And then Ted also said, talking about the Peacock comparisons, Bo Rude.
They play two different positions, unfortunately.
Barrett was the superior player to Bo.
But as far as like getting to the point of contact with the aggression that those guys attacked it with, yeah, I can see it. But two different positions.
Yep.
We talked. Isaiah Hunter made some great plays. Dan Key had some nice catches.
The best one of the night was Quinn Clark.
That's what Chris said. Yeah. Chris over on Facebook said Quinn Clark looks good.
Yeah.
That was a really nice catch and run.
And run. Like finishing the play was what looked the best. So yes, 100%.
Which is something that I know that the explosive plays don't start at. I mean, it's gonna sound crazy. Like they don't start at the line of scrimmage. It's oftentimes the yards after the catch. And to his credit, they must have talked about it, worked on it. Most of the passes, not just from Dylan, but TJ, they were in they to receivers in places where they could actually move the ball upfield a little bit more. So we saw some of those. I'm going to take a quick look here at the stats again. Scroll up to, let's see, Ja'Cory Barney's longest play was 39 yards. And Isaiah Hunter's was 36. Isaiah Mosey had a 39-yarder. Mekhi Nelson, 41. Luke Lindenmeyer had 22. Quinn Clark, 37. I mean, these are big plays. And because of that, Nebraska really made it look easy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those explosive plays come down to effort after the ball is completed. Not just being like, okay, we got the first down, okay, we gained some yards, but continuing to block downfield. A lot of it does start right as the ball snapped with good spacing. I thought our spacing in our route concepts is what really drove the yards after catch. Against Cincinnati, we had to be so clustered in the middle of the field with how they were choosing to defend us with three high safeties over the top, kind of forming that umbrella. And so we weren't able to space out the field. But against Akron, we were able to run a lot of double post concepts, wheel routes along the boundary, just get guys in space in a way that it just turned into a matchup. It's like a fast break in basketball when you're getting those explosive plays after the catch.
You guys both like dogs, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Ellie's Brown Ale from Avery Brewing Company. It's 5.5% alcohol by volume, and it's got a dog on the can.
Speaking of beer, we enjoyed some cross-strain Cornhusker Crusher yesterday.
Really?
Yes.
I'm assuming you can get that outside of Memorial Stadium. Then.
Yeah, at Cross-Strain is a tap room over in La Vista where they brew and can all their beer. And so I stopped there yesterday, and a full case of it was $52.50. So I just bought a couple of 4-packs for $9.75.
It is really good.
Yep.
We don't talk about beer preferences much on the show because we're a Nebraska football show.
Everybody on here knows I'm a Coors Banquet man.
Which, by the way, someone left some Coors Banquets at the
that was me
over here behind the bar. So thank you. We have a little refreshments for.
But there's a song.
I'm drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper
with the little tequila. No, I'm just kidding.
But there's a song. You guys know the song. What's Greg drinking today? What's Greg drinking today? Whoa.
Greg,
that animation, your forearms look huge.
Yeah, dude. You got some pythons there.
You know what? Honestly, it's funny that you mentioned that because we have a starred comment that I starred way back. Pitt says, "Is Jake getting friggin' bigger? Good God, son."
That's a very nice thing to say. Pitt's not. Yes, trying, doing my best. It's we celebrated, my wife and I, we celebrated the Husker win today. I made a little peek behind the curtain. Every Sunday, I do these big Italian, Hasnos, these big Italian meals. And I do, Sunday sauce with either meatballs or sausage. And I do these huge meals. And, the biggest thing to getting big is eating. And no one really knows. The fans don't know what I do for in my line of work, but a lot of it is involving, working out and muscle growth and that kind of thing. And the biggest factor is, thank you, brother, I appreciate you, is eating. And that's the biggest factor no one ever considers is it's the food. The food's the biggest thing. And, Sundays I'm not afraid to have, eating the right foods.
Yep.
And a lot of them. So, it's something that he hasn't had T-shirts taken. I guess for those that don't know, the T-shirt I'm currently wearing is a triple XL. So this one. So anyway, yeah.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah, what is it, Greg?
I eat a lot of food. Why is it that all of my weight is not in my arms and in my stomach? What's going on? What am I doing wrong?
Because you don't create a need for it by going to the gym and training.
Boom.
So it's a very simple. This is where a Husker.
You're right, I don't.
Real quick, the whole concept is the only reason you go to the gym is to create a need for food. The only reason you go to the gym and work out is so that you can make use of all the food that you buy and consume, because the human body is amazing and it can take all the food you eat and turn it into muscle tissue. But you have to create a need for it by going to the gym. So you break yourself down. That's an oversimplification, but for all intents and purposes, you break it down and then you get to go eat. When the muscle burns, it builds. Yeah, that's another oversimplification, but yes.
What the hell?
Jim, Greg, words not good to there. I bet Greg would be freaking yoked if he would go to the gym with me like every day for not every day. I don't train every day, but
who's got that kind of time?
I
got kids.
Yeah, I have kids. Yeah,
wow, we all do, Greg.
It's not my favorite thing in the world, getting up and trying to work out like at 4:30 in the morning. But anyway, that's a very nice comment, Pit Snipe. I appreciate that. It's very nice. Yes, I am getting bigger. Yes, it's hard. But yeah, it's mostly food. You just work out hard, you eat a lot of food. No reason to overcomplicate it. And then once a week, you don't have to eat lame, bland, crappy food. You eat something good. So make yourself a pot of sauce. By the way, for everyone out there who whatever, I also am drinking beer.
Nice.
So
I appreciate that I'm not sitting here alone.
No, you can make room for things like that in your diet. As long as you train hard, you work out, you eat right 90% of the time, you can have, one of my favorite things in the world. I look forward to these, especially this week, guys. Akron, I look forward to this show. I look forward to having some drinks with everybody watching, my co-hosts, and it's like my favorite thing, my highlight of the week. So I appreciate you guys and all the nice comments. So thank you very much. And that's the end of my TED Talk. Thank you for.
Fred said, "Getting bigger, getting hard." Blue Chew.
Yeah, another key part of what I do for a living is sexual health. So I get a lot of that.
What else do we need to say about the receiving corps?
What else is there to say besides they look incredibly impressive, and I think we're well on our way to a top 1/4, top 20% in the conference. Ohio State's wide receiver U. I mean, maybe there's some SEC folks out there that would argue with me, but Ohio State is, they're kind of a cut above, but we're well on our way. Dane Key is incredibly impressive, and Isaiah Hunter is young, but I think people forget that because he's a transfer.
Yep.
Ja'Cory Barney looks very explosive. He hasn't had a chance to really break out yet, but I think he will.
A little bit of a pitch count yesterday after that injury.
After the injury, because he's tough as nails. And Clark. Clark looked amazing. That catch and run was great.
Yep.
And then, Lindenmeyer.
Obviously.
And honestly, I think what aggravated me the most about Lindenmeyer, because I think the first big catch, which I know the announcers were saying, that's the longest play from scrimmage that Nebraska's had all season. Limited sample size certainly, but it's 22 or 24 yards, something like that, which Nebraska blew that out of the water at the by the end of the game. But that was right up the seam. That was not the type of play call that Thomas Fedoni was getting last year.
Nope.
And it pisses me off for Fedoni because, man, what a wasted opportunity.
I don't think he was at 100% health.
Sure, but
I don't think that. I think in the NFL you'll probably see him have a decent career because he's finally at full health. He was still pretty gimpy after those knee injuries.
Okay. Then we can talk about the running backs, and that's
Emmett
going
Johnson, 10 yards of carry,
140 yards on 14 carries, 2 touchdowns. He also had a receiving touchdown, so he accounted for 3 Nebraska touchdowns. And, I said this against Cincinnati, that a lot of times against the Bearcats, it looked like he was this close to breaking a big run. And he did that last night, 47 yards. I think it was that touchdown. He scooted, and I'm so happy for him. He's, 255 yards rushing over 2 games now.
Mm-hmm.
If we can keep that pace up, it'd be obviously our first 1,000-yard rusher since Divino Zigbo, but could potentially go well beyond that. And he's running. I wasn't a fan of the fumble. Obviously, none of us were. I think he tries to get too fancy. He's not a bad just north and south runner.
No, he's not.
The pads and go.
I think that's where our under center run game really showcases him. The ability to get under center and change that angle of departure and the aiming points on run plays as opposed to being in the shotgun. I think that if we continue to commit to that being an element of our offense, I think that's going to be huge for Emmett moving forward this year. I think you should probably incorporate some pistol into the offense because he made a lot of plays against Wisconsin running pistol formations. And then Isaiah Mosey, talk about a guy, great balance for a true freshman.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Great balance. He's big, 6'1", 210. He's kind of one of those high-cut guys. I think that he has those flashes, even in a blowout like this. He had those flashes that point to, okay, it's going to be a really good player. It's kind of like Rex Burkhead in 2009. We beat the shit out of Louisiana Lafayette 55-0. That was kind of that first game where Rex Burkhead, it was like, okay, this cat can play. He looks good.
TSD said at the top of the show, Mosey was a tough dude to bring down. And that's what I noticed about him and Mekhi Nelson both, is the fact that they really showed some tremendous awareness and balance going up the sideline.
That was what really impressed me with Mekhi Nelson when he caught the screen and tightrope the sideline. Granted, they said he stepped out when he very clearly, I didn't think he did. That's a guy that I think you're going to see play at a much higher level by the end of the year than where he started, which is, it's a water is wet statement, but that's what development's all about. I like what I saw out of Mekhi Nelson. The only running back that I'm down on, I'm not a Quentin Ives truther. Rule, I know Rule loves him because they're both Jersey boys, Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons there. But I'm just not seeing it with Ives. He's, lumbering, taking off from the 3, trying to jump into the goal line, do a Bo Jackson high jump. And he just doesn't run with a lot of mobility. I mean, he looks like he's bound up in the hips and in the quads.
I want to say about that, that 3-yard or that, dive over the pile from the 3, that's a play call, right? I mean,
no.
Oh, so walk me there, because I honestly thought that was a designed, was there some, I'm assuming that if it's not designed to go over the pile, because there are probably some that are.
It's a mid. We're running our midline play that we ran a lot last year. It's aiming points are either side of the center, both A gaps. It's basically after he gets the ball, he cuts in the direction of where the center's block is. And he just made the decision that I'm going to try to jump over the pile.
Right.
That's a case of being a bit of a cowboy.
It's different than last year when Carter Nelson had the over-the-top play. That was the design of that play, was Carter Nelson over the top. This play that we saw last night was not that.
Yep. That was a player trying to make a play.
That was a player trying to make a play. And it just didn't look good. And that's okay. That's okay. Because nothing's going to be perfect.
You can do that against Akron. You can't do that against Michigan, Penn State.
Dowdell tried it against Ohio State last year.
And, Dowdell had EJ had the fumble, right?
Yep.
One of the best running backs in Nebraska football history was Amon Green, who, I don't know if in college if this was much the case, but when he went to Green Bay, he had a fumbling problem.
Yeah.
He was a fumble-prone guy.
He got traded from Seattle to Green Bay because of his fumbling.
Because he couldn't hang on to the ball. And he's a Packers Hall of Fame player. He's not an NFL Hall of Famer, but Packers Hall of Fame player. And, guys, no one's going to be perfect. Like Dylan Raiola is not perfect, but I mean, goddamn, let's be honest. Like, the guy looked great yesterday.
And that defender put his helmet right on the football. It was a textbook hit.
It was a great play by the defender.
What are you going to do in that situation?
Oh, on the fumble, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it
are
was
you
a
gonna
great
do?
play
That's
by
how
the
they teach
defender. And I'm never gonna critique a guy unless it's like you're trying to put the game away and you already secured the first down, just go down and then you take a knee, and then unless it's that type of situation, a guy trying to put the ball in the end zone, I'm not going to critique him.
I mean, like, you can look at it too. Amir Abdullah, one of the top 3 to 5 greatest running backs we've had at Nebraska.
I will die on that hill.
Some will even say the second best we've ever had here, depending on your age.
Not dying on that hill, but
I only go so far down that street with you.
Next generation below us, because my list is Lawrence Phillips, Rozier, 1A, 1B, interchangeable. I would say I'd put Amir at number 4.
Who's number 3?
Almon.
That's right. Okay, we're in agreement then. Here.
So
But like Amir was a fumbler. Amir was a fumbler. There's that hot mic incident that after the Iowa game in 13, when everyone thought Bo was getting fired, Greg Sharp and Damon Benning are talking on, I think it was Sports Nightly. Greg Sharp. Sorry, too many Sharps in the Husker Sports media verse. They're talking, and he even says, he goes, I think Greg Sharp said it, I like Amir, but he's a fumbler. And he was. He had some fumbles that you could attribute to hard luck, but a lot of times they would just, he'd go down after a 7-yard gain, and as he's going to the ground, ball would get punched out.
If Amir was 13 years younger, he'd be remembered as one of the best running backs by all fans, no matter what their age is, one of the best running backs ever. He wasn't on a championship team.
He had no supporting cast.
He had no supporting cast. I don't like the disrespect that Amir Abdullah gets.
If you're a Husker fan over the age of 45, we already know where you stand on Amir Abdullah not being an all-time great. So essentially is what Jake's trying to say.
Who do you have number 5?
You could go, you know what? Because I love watching games from the 80s, and Bill Walsh said this is one of the most talented football players he's ever seen. He couldn't keep his nose clean. Doug Dubose. Yeah. And not only does Mosey wear 22, he's got that same overall build as Dubose. Dubose was a great receiver out of the backfield, had great balance. Brian Bosworth said that Dubose was who he hated tackling the most, because it was like tackling a buzzsaw.
I could throw Calvin
Jones is ridiculously underrated.
So I could throw Calvin Jones in the conversation.
Yeah, Calvin Jones.
And obviously Roger Craig. I mean, we're all forgetting not only the most underrated pro player that's ever
Roger
played.
Moore did not forget Roger Craig,
Yeah.
Jake.
Roger Craig is the most underrated professional football player that's ever lived, ever. And he's also the most underrated Husker, even amongst Husker fans. People forget how great he was.
I would have to put Rex Burkhead up there as well.
I agree.
as what Rex was, as more of a, I kind of delineate. It's like, yeah, he played running back, but just overall as a football player, the guy probably could have succeeded at any position he wanted to play, skill wise.
And I'll throw this in as an intangible. What Rex Burkhead has meant to the program and the fan base outside the confines of what happens, sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone, with the the correlation that he has with the Team Jack Foundation and things like that. Just a fantastic ambassador for Husker football. I don't know how the hell we got on this topic. I'm not shying away from it. Stephen Fromm says, where do you have Buckhalter? And then before you answer that, Gary Pierce says, Buckhalter and Alexander fumbled away our chance of playing for the national championship. They were a blast to watch, though, in 1999.
Funny, Stephen Fromm. I thought about Buckhalter. He actually entered my mind before you made the comment. He's nowhere close, but I thought about him. He's an underrated player, too. He's remembered for one bad play.
He was criminally underutilized by Solich.
100. And also, Pit Snipe, Roger Craig not in the NFL Hall of Fame as the first ever 1,000 player is an absolute joke.
It's a crime.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. That's a trailblazer. We have tons of trailblaze guys in the NFL Hall of Fame. No, don't ask me to name them right now because I'm not in the position to do so. But there are guys
with your list.
There are guys that are in the NFL Hall of Fame that are trailblazer type guys that didn't really do much, but they, whatever. Roger Craig, first ever 1,000 guy, should be in the NFL Hall of Fame.
And yes, he says that there are running backs in that were worse than him. Ted Hilker, quick question. Johnny the Jet, was he a receiver or running back? I believe he was a receiver.
He was he was a wing back. So technically it's kind of this weird hybrid, but he was more of a receiver than he was a running back. So
yep.
Yeah. Wing back is just it's an archaic position that doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Let's take a quick gander at, just the totality of everything last night from a statistics point of view. We mentioned Dylan Raiola, 24 of 31, 364 yards. TJ Lateef, 6 of 7, but still 128 yards. And even Jalen Gramson went 2 for 2 for 2 yards. So passing, Nebraska totaled up 494 yards through the air and another 238 yards on the ground, led by Emmett Johnson's 140 net yards. Quentin Ives had 34. TJ Lateef had 17, a good mobile quarterback there. Kenneth Williams had 15. Dylan Raiola with 13. Could have had 15 if he wouldn't have gotten tackled 2 yards short. Have to say it. I'm contractually obligated. Mekhi Nelson, Connor Booth, all with carries with registered yards. So as a team, Nebraska had 728 yards of offense. The defense, meanwhile, held Akron to 175. Quite the disparity. Nebraska averaged almost, or right around, I should say, 10 yards per play. Yeah. Right there on the money. So, I just don't know how. Oh gosh dang! I have to highlight this one. Roy Halou.
I love Roy Halou.
He always flies under the radar in Husker fandom.
He does. And real quick, Gary Pierce, last comment. Did we have a conversation without Rozier? No, Rozier was
at the top.
Yeah, he's at the top. Well, we just mentioned kind of 1A, 1B, Lawrence Phillips, Mike Rozier. It's hard to pick one. Obviously, no. Rozier is one of, if not the greatest, he's right there. He's tied. I don't think it goes out. I think it goes out saying. But anyway.
I know Haas remembers Corey Ross well.
One of my all-time favorite players.
Pork chop, love him. Yep.
Guys, I hate to be a party pooper, but my laptop's about to die, and I don't have my charger here at home.
That's okay.
Yeah. So,
well, let's rush through the.
We might have like a few minutes left. I'm at 8%.
Well, if you drop off, at least we know why.
Yeah.
It's our first 700-yard plus offensive performance since 1982, and it's our first shutout.
Who was? I thought
we rolled up 755 against Florida Atlantic in 2014.
Did we really?
Yeah, the behind the back Westerkamp catch.
755.
Yep.
That's me. I looked it up.
Yep.
That one must have.
Yeah, AJ sent me it this morning. He was like, "We were wrong. It wasn't 1982."
Okay, was that the only other one since 1982? Then
I think so.
Okay.
It was our first shutout since 2009.
Yeah,
when we beat UL Lafayette 55-0.
Nope. Arizona Holiday Bowl.
I saw somebody in the post-game press conference with Matt Rule that said that it was 2009.
Might have been home game since the last home game shutout.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't mean to be poo-pooing all your hard work here, Jake.
No, I was that one I threw in just because it was in the post-game. I didn't even Google that one. I just thought that everybody, Sean Callahan and the fine folks at Husker online did their homework. So, because Rule asked Callahan, when was our last shutout? And he goes, 2009. Lafayette. So I was like, pencil that in.
Yep.
So, with respect to Haas's laptop situation, guys, no offense. I think we'll skip risers and fallers this week.
No, we got a few minutes. Like, I want to add that in. That's my favorite part of the podcast.
Oh, okay. Who's your riser?
I would have to say Dylan Raiola exceeded my expectations for him for this game. Faller.
I mean, it's 68-0. It's hard to.
Honestly, if I had to pick a faller, I'm going to pick the guy who's our most talented offensive lineman, but he can't get it together, Elijah Pritchett. I mean, he didn't get into the game until late. I mean, he's far and away our best O-lineman, but if you can't handle your shit on and off the field, that's what's going to happen.
Jake?
Yeah, Faller. Well, I'm going to start with Faller. Faller, I agree, just because I don't have anybody else to really put in there, and just kind of a cumulative start to the season. Faller, Pritchett. Riser for me, Peacock.
Yep.
Easy riser.
Not about going that route.
Easy riser. Now, Dylan, very impressive, but I'm going to say I also have the expectations for Dylan to do that based on what he was in high school, based on what he's being paid. These guys are paid now. They're professionals, even at the college level. I expect that kind of a performance out of a guy like that. I'm very encouraged by his performance, but I expect it. Peacock, did not expect it. Easy riser for me. I don't even have a close second. Peacock.
I'm going to say my riser is Emmett Johnson. And I know that's like Greg, he had a 100-yard performance last week. Yeah, but we actually saw the burst. We saw I'm kind of taking the fumble off the table. I love the way he ran the ball. And I think that they need to utilize more between the tackles running and just let him run north and south. There's if he can stop dancing around so much, he probably doesn't fumble that ball last night. And if anything, I just want him to be a little bit more decisive when he's hitting the gaps. Now, Faller, like you guys, I don't want to, it's 68-0, right? But I'm going to let Adam Martin pick my Faller. And in a way that I want your guys' take, because he said early on, he says, not much to complain about, but Javin Wright, Marquise Watson-Trent still struggling at times with run fits.
Javin Wright,
quiet last night.
He entered my mind as a Faller, but I'm not going to put him there yet.
Yep. Marquise Watson-Trent, I think you're going to see him play a lot better when you're going up against those traditional Big Ten offenses that are going to have a lot of 12 personnel. He's kind of a shorter, squattier linebacker. He's going to be a good thumper downhill against the inside run game. I think you'll see him get it together this season.
Pitt says, Haas, is Pritchett struggling that much off the field? All I've read about is the mental errors on the field.
I mean, it just sounds like there's a lot of, focus issues, whether it's on field or off field, lack of preparation, not, just not being real dialed in.
Gary is encouraged that Dylan can throw with accuracy and timing. I think his biggest problem is on his shoulders. I think it's
mental.
Yeah.
I think he has a tendency to try to think that he has to go out there and play a flawless game every time. Instead of just trusting within the context of the offense, trusting his teammates to be where they need to be. Sometimes you just got to go make the routine play.
100.
Celebrate the process.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Pitt, I know we talked about this earlier, but we'll mention again, our leading tackler was the true freshman, Cade Peacock. So with 4, which is crazy. That just goes to show you how balanced we were. And let's see. We have Houston Christian coming to town next week. Quick notes about them is that they were 5-7 last year, 1-1 so far this year. They lost to Eastern Kentucky, and they won. You think 68-0 is impressive? They won against Arkansas Baptist, 69-0.
Nice.
And Jake, I love your editorialization here. Tell us how Arkansas Baptist is even allowed to play football.
I don't want to critique a team that bad, but with Houston Christian, who I think is probably one of the better high school programs in the state of Texas this year, is beating you 69-0. I don't know how you even have a team. I Googled Houston Christian, and the internet presence of that program is pretty minimal. I Googled Arkansas Baptist and found nothing. I don't even know what their colors are. Like, obviously, guys, I mean, Akron would beat Houston Christian. I think. I don't want to. I'm going on a limb here because I don't even have the stats. For all I know, Houston Christian's better than Akron. I would think that Akron would probably be a 2 to 3 touchdown favorite against Houston Christian. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I think we win 100-0. That's absurd. I would expect a similar result, and I think I've been on record saying this. If not, I apologize. It was off the record, not during recorded times, but I've been pretty vocal in my opinion that these 2 weeks, Akron, Houston Christian, if you're a quality program that has a chance at, you think you're a playoff team in the Big Ten, you're a quality Big Ten team, you win by a combined total of about 110 to 120 to about 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean that. And so far, not that I'm not smarter. I've been wrong a lot on this show. So I'm not saying that. But so far I've been vindicated. And I think that we should see something very similar next week. I'm not saying 6-9-0, but something pretty similar.
I was looking at my predictions a minute ago, and I had preseason Nebraska 66, Houston Christian 17. I'm just going to go with a bold prediction because why not? If I'm wrong, you guys can all say I told you so. I'm going to say we pitch a second straight shutout. 66 zip.
Yeah, what I have, Greg?
I have you as 59-7.
Let's go 70-0. And if I'm wrong, who cares?
Yeah.
It's all fun anyway.
Yeah.
That's why we do the show. It's for fun. There's some analytics and whatever, but it's all for fun.
I get to mark down. So nobody knows this. This is a peek well behind the curtain. But when you make changes to your prediction, I put those in red so that I know. All right. So you each have them pitch and shutouts. Obviously, I have Nebraska winning, and it'll be in a similar vein. I want to take some of these start comments before we lose Haas.
Yeah, we're sitting at 4%.
All right. TSD says, I just feel bad for our punter. The family was here. Not one punt. There was not one punt.
Good.
By Nebraska.
Sorry, Archie.
Should we have, last time out there, should we just have punted just because?
On 1st and 10.
I don't know what it would have been, but, because, they talked I heard that his family's sticking around through the Houston Christian game, so maybe there will be an opportunity there. But regardless, I was kind of happy that we didn't have to punt, honestly.
No, you always want that confidence of being able to go into your next game and say we didn't punt in the last game.
Brett says, I know this was after the game was already over, but wow, TJ Lateef and Mosey both really, really impressed. Praying we can somehow keep them both here because I know they'll both have offers.
Well, Mosey's dad's on staff.
Yeah. And Quinn Clark's dad is too, right?
Quinn Clark's dad's dead.
Yeah.
Ken Clark, R.I.P. Another great running back that never gets mentioned.
I thought about R.I.P. man.
I didn't know that. So
no, that's
Corby said early on, I thought the game was darn near flawless. Only nitpick I have is our use of timeouts. Timing for a lot of them seems less than ideal, worries me a bit for the rest of the season. That's obviously from the coaching side. I feel like, I'm finding it difficult to disagree with Corby. I feel like there were some oddly timed timeouts.
Probably more so just getting guys lined up in the right place, eliminating communication issues.
Yeah.
And
to that, Gary says, I think our coaches are far better this year. It gives me hope that we won't look bewildered against Michigan.
Michigan, I'll say this. Their defense did not lose them that Oklahoma game. After OU scored on their first drive, they settled in the rest of the game and played basically a 14-13 ball game. Looking at Michigan, as talented as I think they are, and they've got a pretty strong culture in place in their program going back to when Harbaugh was still there, this is a Nebraska team that can go toe-to-toe with Michigan.
Yep.
I don't think we'll look bewildered. I'm not guaranteeing a win, but I don't think we're going to look bewildered.
Brett says, I'm nitpicking, but Akron dropped 6 wide-open big play passes, a couple that would have led to touchdowns. That can't happen against better competition. They'll catch it every time.
I'd like to see those on tape. I don't remember that many.
Yeah. There were a lot of plays that were high and maybe glanced off their hands too.
Mm-hmm. And then Minnie said earlier, first quarter was a bit trying, especially when Emmett let the ball get knocked out. I mean, we didn't talk about the quarter by quarter breakdown, but it was only 9-0 after the first quarter.
Yep.
Nebraska exploded for 24 24 more before halftime. But when we were only up 9-0, was there any doubt, concern, worry for you guys?
No, I felt like we were solidly in control of the game, but I mean, the ghosts of the past kind of enter your head, and you're thinking are we going to fuck around and do something to make this game more interesting than it needs to be?
I mean, after the first quarter, we were talking about hey, look at guys, this is what happens to us. We're going to rack up. At the time, I was saying we'll rack up 500 yards of offense and have 36 points to show for it.
Or less.
I remember I said that. That was an actual quote. You were here, man. You were probably right here.
Yep. Yeah, I was sitting right there because Katie was sitting where you're sitting right now.
And it was at the end of the first quarter. I'm like, hey, man, we'll have 500 yards of offense and 36 points. Yep. And, luckily that wasn't the case. But, yeah. Kind
of the Matt Rule special.
Aaron Keene said, by the way, that Archie said he was A-OK not punting. So
he's a team player.
He said that preseason. There was when in his first press conference, he was like, hopefully they don't need me on Saturday. Going to the Cincinnati game, the week of the Cincinnati game. Hopefully they don't need me at all. He knows the game.
Michael Hassman says Huskers may play 100 players this coming week.
We may hang 100. I have no idea. If we're
91-0.
If we were playing Arkansas Baptist, the over/under would be 200, and we'd be 200-point favorites. I don't even know who that is.
Great one here from Adam Martin. Says might help this year if Michigan doesn't know every play we're about to run.
Yeah, I still go back to the second drive against them in 23. We had a 4th and 1. Ran an unscouted look against them, something that we hadn't shown at all.
And Hutchinson called it right out.
Aiden Hutchinson's pointing right at the A gap, and we ran a quarterback wedge play out of the gun.
And Adrian, you see Adrian look to the sideline confused because that's something. By the way, I wonder if Arkansas Baptist needs some help because I think I have a year of eligibility somewhere. I could probably play any position that they need me to play.
Center.
You could probably be the defensive line.
I played quarterback in 8th grade. I was pretty damn good. I think I rushed for 2,000 yards in 6 games. So I might play quarterback for those guys. I don't know. 6-9-0 to Houston Christian is pretty bad.
Well, guys, this is awesome. We knew it was going to be a fun show coming in because we kicked ass and chewed bubble gum, and we were all out of bubble gum.
Business.
So let's look forward to Houston Christian. I know it's on FS1. I can't remember the time.
11 a.m.
Oh, Hoss, it's your favorite time. For
God's kickoff time.
And we're here in that central time, which is God's favorite time zone. So I'm excited. So I didn't have the boys this weekend, but Robert knew. He's like, he knew what time. One of the twins. He knew what time the Huskers were supposed to play, and their mom was like, "Yeah, but we're going to be at the baseball game because there was a fundraiser baseball game." So I think he was a little disappointed that he missed the game. So I know this Saturday he's going to be pretty juiced up, ready to go watching Nebraska football with Dad. So I'm excited for it. So
hell yeah.
So that'll do it for us. Gosh, what a great time. Hopefully we're as cheerful, celebrate. Let's just win all the games 68-0 from the rest of the way out, and then we can always be this happy on Sunday nights. Wouldn't that be something?
Except a lot better for our mental health.
Yeah,
Iowa 166-0.
There we go. Yeah, we gotta give them a little extra. So, Yingling and sippy cups for me and the boys. So we'll that'd be a bad idea. No. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the Coronation Overreaction. We thank all of you guys for participating, you men and women in the chat, and of course, huge thanks to Jake and Hoss for being part of this show with me. I'm Greg Mahochko. That's Hoss. That's Jake, and this is the Coronation Overreaction. We'll see you next Sunday night, 9:00 Central on Coronation's YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Twitter.
Go Big Red. Hoss.
Win the damn game.
Jake.
All the fans, thank you so much for watching. Win the damn game. Fuck Iowa. Go Big Red.
Big Red.